Hey, look, I remember to hit share my screen. I'm so smart. All right, so according to the little things that are new, this is all taken care of. But I'm looking at one. Gestures. Is that new? Juan Perez.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello,
Are these?
can you hear me?
Yeah. Is this gestures new?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I turned in the fire and the bouncing ball
Okay.
for the tail. Those are in the late file.
Okay. What did you say? Fire and what?
Bouncing ball with tail.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, these are okay. You can get the idea here. And your character design. Okay. Okay, good. I like it. Yep, perfect. And then we go to walk part 1 or script with gestures. Desha. Is this new?
Yeah.
Okay. It's loading. Give it a moment, please. Refresh. I don't know what it's doing, Desha. Let me refresh again. It's thinking about it. It usually doesn't matter if these files are big or not. Must have something to do with internet traffic. All right, I don't know what it's doing. I can come back to this. If I need to, I can put something in the comment over here, Desha.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you.
See if the other one works. Juan's worked. I guess my computer doesn't like you today, Desha. Characters, anticipation. Remember, Juan, an anticipation is an action opposite of the main action. So this would not technically be an anticipation. This would be like a mid-level breakdown or something. Jump,
Okay.
catch. All right, so that's starting to work. Again, I will come back to grading on this later on this evening. So it works. Just remember what is an anticipation. All right, so
Okay.
for the walk part 1, I'm going to see what this is like here. It's because I haven't graded it. Just let me know. Victor, did you put a new walk in there?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's fine. Yolanda?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right, let me move some of these things out of the way here. Okay, this looks much better. Just on my reiteration of what to look for in a animation cycle like this, the first second or two that you look at it, just always train your eye to concentrate on one part. So I start at one place. I see that the feet are moving the fastest, and so when we're talking about isolationism in the camera technique of principles of animation, the idea would be is that that's the thing that's moving the fastest. And it looks correct. There might be a frame or two where the feet are sliding a little bit, but it's kind of hard to tell because you don't have anything that's registered to the ground, but that's fine. The arms look good. And the little cane looks good too. There's a little hiccup right at the end. I think the hiccup is between the last frame and the very first frame. So this is the first frame, that's the last frame. So you see they're just a little different from each other?
Oh, yeah.
They're either a little different or yeah, there's just a little hiccup between the very last frame and the first frame. But it's okay. You know, if you were being paid $25 an hour, you could easily fix that. This looks great. Yay! I see some
Thank
hands
you.
for Yolanda, please. Okay, and now let's go back here. Carmen, is there a new file here?
No.
Okay, no worries. Desha? A new walk cycle?
No.
Okay. Okay. Oops, sorry. All right, the feet look okay. Knees, hips, you could fix those connection lines. And I think you could fix the connection lines for the shoulder because I think that it is working. It's just that you have to clean it up. Yeah, it's working good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Can I see some hands for Desha, please? Yay! Reagan, their new walk. No, I'm going to answer for you. What about Deborah? No, I can answer for you. James, this says May 4th, so I'm guessing that that's not new.
Nope, nothing new.
Okay. Chloe, hey. So you're going, this one's your final then?
No, I wanted to fix the arm swing, but I also wanted to finish the run, which I'm working on.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn it in probably at the end of tonight because it's almost completed.
It's this one?
No, well, that's the way original one, but I have one that's like this, but more cleaned up.
Okay.
And the arms are fixed.
Okay,
So they're not as
I'll look for that later.
cool. Thanks.
All right, I didn't see Shade. Shade, did you arrive to class? Okay. This says May 3rd, so that's not new. Vivian, that's not new. Angel, that's not new. That's not new, okay, and then Magnus. Okay, that's not new. Kyle. That's not new, okay. Ryan,
No, nothing new.
okay. Juan, ooh, May 25th. Okay, I remember this from last week. The deal was the hiccuping hands.
Yeah.
And you fixed it. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm only catching one little thing, and that's like right on the hand itself. See this little hand right here? It's just that it like changes shape.
Oh, okay.
It changes size. But I think that the actual technical animation is pretty good. Remember that this does read like the Preston Blair.
Mhm.
And your job would be then is to do it again with your own character. And your timing is always going to be different by what shape and proportion your characters are. So that looks good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me make sure that goes in the proper folder. That goes in this folder. Okay, good. Delilah. Is this new? April 30th is not new.
No, it's not.
Tristan, May 4th is not new. Okay, so I'm gonna put that away. And I'm gonna refresh this. All right, that was walk part 1, I believe. So let's look at walk part 2.
Billy, I submitted walk part 1 too.
Okay, who was that?
Angel C.
Angel.
Yeah.
Angel C.
Mhm.
In part 1?
Yes, I put it in part 2 by accident first, but then I
Oh, okay.
switch it up. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. He's carrying his blue margarita, everybody. Okay, this looks okay. You know, I always worry about registration, a character carrying something, but I think it's okay. The away arm swings okay. The only thing that's kind of bugging me, Angel, if you can watch while I'm talking, is that the legs kind of change volume. Thin, thin, thin. See the right leg? Thin, real thin, real. See it right there? And then it gets thicker as it goes through its walk. And it's something that you would just adjust. The feet get smaller too. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So that's something that you just fix. I think the animation is actually okay. The bending of the feet is a little rough, but I think it's okay.
Cool.
It's
Thanks,
where,
man.
what is he supposed to be carrying?
Just a glass of water.
Lots of water. Yeah, he's got a strange pose on the water. Look, I'm going to carry it on the tip of my thumb, everybody. Yeah, okay, it looks okay. Thank you, Angel.
Thank you. I also have the run submitted.
Yeah, I
too.
haven't got there
When you
yet.
get to it.
All right, this is, oh, hold on. This is walk part 2. And I'm just looking for anything that's new. Ray posted a GIF, and so it automatically plays. This is good, but remember, Ray,
Yeah, I'm here.
this is a really good example of why I don't like the away arm and the away leg colored in really darkly,
Hmm.
because it's just kind of hard to see whether it's working or not.
I see.
In this condition here, you would just do the same thing that I did in my demos, where you just give a little bit of a hint of a shade to let everyone know that that's the away arm and the away leg. The
I see.
animation is good.
Okay.
His legs do get a little long, that back view right there, a little rubber hose style animation, but that's okay.
Okay.
It's fun. And I'm gonna pull that as well. Thank you, Ray. Carmen, May 18th, that is not new. Angel C, May 25th, this is new.
Oh, is this for walk?
Walk, yeah.
Oh, this is the one that I just submitted by accident. We just saw
submitted
this
by
one.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's the
So
same
like,
one.
yeah, it's the same one.
Okay. Thank you, Angel.
Mhm.
Desha, that's not new. Reagan, that's not new. I have that already. Continuing, Chloe. I have this one already, version 2. We saw that one already. Angel M, that is not new. Magnus, that is not new. Okay. 1.
That's the same one as the walk part one.
Oh, you put it in both files?
Yeah.
Okay. Delilah,
Oh, this is new one.
this is new. Just a
Yes.
couple days ago, okay. Can you hear the vacuum cleaner from my neighbors? Okay. Okay, this looks really good, Delilah. Feet, knees, body, arms, bend, hands. Okay, yeah, this is great.
Thank you.
This is very good. Yay! Clapping, please. Yay! Can I see some clapping, please? This is a good example of just coloring the away arm and leg, just a slightly different color so that you can see it. It doesn't have to be that neon example that they have in textbooks, but this works. Good bend of the feet. Yep, good. It looks good. Make sure I put that in the right folder. And Tristan, that is not new. Okay. All right, back to the right class. Refresh. And run. Speed grader. Hey. Okay, Victor, this is from the 11th. Not new. Yolanda, that's from the 11th. Ray, this is for today. All right, so Ray,
Yeah.
it's too slow, right?
Yeah. And I
And
know
it-
one thing I know for sure is I didn't add the head going up and down.
Right, right. But it's too slow.
Mhm.
It's like running in slow motion. A run cycle does not necessarily look like running in slow motion until you compensate for it as an animator. Yeah, but you do need the up and down motion.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you might refer to the note that I gave you all that in your job as an animator is to like reference everything in the world. You know, do your research. What does it look like? Michael Johnson, the Olympic runner, he ran like this. He ran, oops. He ran with his backwards lean. He was an Olympic runner, right? And he can do that. And he did it to get like the forward momentum of his feet out from underneath his body, which is kind of strange because when you're leaning forward, most of your leg arc is behind you. But he got it to work. Look at the footage of Usain Bolt, you know, the fastest runner in the world for many years. And what always makes me happy is to find out that he's like a really nice guy. You know, he's not like some jerk, like Barry Bonds. Ew. I always hate that. When someone's an elite athlete, and then you find out that they're even mean to their teammates. That stuff makes me want to not watch sports anymore. So are you going to, Ray, are you going to tweak this? Are you going to adjust this?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and find some time tonight to make those adjustments and resubmit.
So yeah, making the adjustments would be just give a slight green, a lighter green color to the left arm and leg, get the up and down motion for the body and speed it up. In my experience, it may be easier for you to do those 10 frames all brand new and to not try and fix it, because it might take longer to fix it than it would be to just do a new one.
I see. Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm not going to pull that right now. Carmen, this is new. Okay, great. Little flipping on her little bangs, that works. Feet, arms, body. Yep, it looks good. You even got maybe some unintentional, but it works, overlapping action in her little the beanie on her beret. Yeah, it works. This is really good.
Thank you.
Yep, I think that what happens in real life is that there's so much air moving around when you're doing a run that lots of things can happen and they don't necessarily have to cycle perfectly. So it's perfectly acceptable for that little whip of her hair right there to just go in whatever direction you want. It works. It's good. Can I see some hands, please? Yay! Okay, good. Angel C. This is from today. Okay, I'm going to ignore those little crosshairs. Hands, arms, legs. I think it's working. Something is hiccuping with his feet. I'm going to go frame by frame. This is frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there's a problem right there. You see it, Angel? You have 2 frames where the left leg is in the same exact place. See it?
Yeah.
And the body is in the exact same place. In my experience, that's a hard fix. You have to isolate it and figure out what you did wrong, because you always do the head, neck, and body oscillation first. So that the fact that the head is not moving, the body is not moving up and down on this frame, you have to figure out where it was supposed to be before you can fix the foot. All right, and then I want to just check the connection. Yeah, that's what it was. So just look at that one little click right there. See it?
Yep.
There. 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 So halfway through the cycle. See if you can fix it. See if you can tweak it. It might be worth your while. And get those little crosshairs out of there.
Okay.
You don't need them. They're just distracting because they're not moving. The rest of it looks okay. Line quality could use a little love, but the animation is working except for that little click. And I don't apologize for being able to see things like that on ones. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, so sorry, Chloe. Reagan, this is not new. Deborah, this is not new. James. All right, this was.
I don't think there's anything new.
That's not new, okay. Vivian, this is not new, okay. Angel M, not new. Magnus, not new. Ryan, not new. One. It came up late, it doesn't matter to me, I don't care. I think it was funny that there's still residual effects of the coronavirus out there in the world. And for many months, 2 years solid, North Korea was like, oh no, we have 0 cases of coronavirus, 0 cases. And the whole world just knew that was wrong. And then just last week, they announced that they've had 1.8 million deaths just in the last year. It went from 0 to 1.8 million, okay. All right, so 1, My intuition is that you only have 8 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You only have 6 drawings, 12 frames. Something's catching my eye. Let me see what it is. No, I think it's okay. Juan, are you on microphone, please? I have an intuition.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you have your project file open?
Not at the moment.
All right, let me like just look. Sometimes I can find this just here. No, it's not telling me the frame rate. My intuition is that you animated this at 30 FPS. Just tell me you didn't. Tell me it's at 24.
I think it should be 24.
Okay. I think it looks okay. Let me just check one thing. Something is catching my eye. Let me see what it is. Yeah, I think that what's catching my eye is just an aesthetic thing, that you've got some really thick lines that define the body right here. Right? You see how thick they are? And then there's a
Yeah.
thinner line for the back leg. And then they change. So,
Okay.
and then the line that was his arm right here is nice and thick and bold. And the line for his back is nice and thick and bold. But in the very next drawing, that line becomes thin and then thick and then really thick and then thin again. See that? So
Mhm.
that's what's catching my eye is
So
that,
just clean up the lines.
yeah, it's just a line weight problem.
Okay.
You do have a head that's out of position. So this is frame 1. So your head and neck and body should be going up and down.
Okay.
This is an animator when you're first learning how to do this, just always do your walk cycle or run cycle so that your head, neck, and body are just going up and down. But from your first drawing to your second drawing, your head, neck, and body are going backwards. And then they go up and forward. So you didn't kind of place them in the right position. So you see how the head, neck, and body are kind of jogging around a little bit?
Yeah.
You can tighten that up by just trying to align them better. Yeah, aligning them better in your application would be just as simple as, here, let me just show you. Instead of saying it, I'll just show you. This is JP Run Cycle. Rough Animators waking up. There we go. All right, so remember when you do this in Rough Animator or Toon Boom or many applications, that when you bring a QuickTime movie in, it comes in as frames. So in order to align this, I would say give yourself a new layer, right? And extend that layer out for the entire duration of your shot, which is 12 drawings. And in this layer, just give yourself a mark, give yourself a hot red line, and let that line, hold on 1 second, get my stylus. So let that line be a horizontal line and a vertical line that lasts for so it's being held for the entire duration of the cycle. And then when you go through your frames, you can see how far off you are. See that? See the
Yeah.
difference? And then you can check it against everything. So your second drawing, your third drawing, and it goes higher and lower. But you start out with their head in this position So it should only be going up and down,
Okay.
not backwards and forwards and everything. So that could be the thing, when you're tightening up the lines, that could be something that you fix. All right. Thank you, Juan. Yay! That goes for any QuickTime movie. So if you find a QuickTime movie of a hummingbird and you bring the hummingbird into Toon Boom, it comes in as frames. So you can rotoscope it. We didn't talk about rotoscope. I'll mention that at the end. You can bring in your own animation. If you lose a file, you can always bring in your own animation. All right. Delilah, this is not new. Tristan,
This one's new.
this is new. Okay, it looks good. Feet, knees, body is kind of long, but that's okay. My intuition is that one of these hands is not in the right place. I'm going to put the playhead just like right here. The corner of the playhead is right by his thumb. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. And more than likely, it's the jump between the last frame and the first frame. So what I want you to do is I want you to just play along with me right here as we go from, this is like his left hand, let's say. And as we go forwards, his hand goes down, back, further back, all the way to the furthest rear position. And then it goes forwards. And then see, these two drawings are, this drawing right here and this drawing are kind of close to each other. But then in the very next drawing, it jumps from this position all the way up to here. So you have a spacing problem. See how the hand just kind of snaps up into that high position?
Yeah.
It's because you have it isolated. That frame of the hand being up high like that is all by itself, and it just snaps up there. If you were to paint this, and you were to paint like the shirt like a blue or a green or something, it would show up even more. It would pop. It would strobe even more because right now it's just black lines against a white background. If you colored it, it would pop even more. It looks okay. See if you can adjust that hand.
Okay.
All right, Tristan, everybody, yes? Yay! Refresh.
Billy, I uploaded something for my run and for an updated walk.
Okay. Hold on one second. Okay, shoulders, this one I'm starting at the shoulders. Elbows, hands look okay. Body, head, knees, yep, it looks okay. How many frames?
Let me think. I had 12 drawings and they were each 2 frames, so 24.
Okay. My intuition
Mhm.
is that it's just reading just a little bit sluggish. So for the frames when there should be, pause, there should be a couple of drawings where the body and the legs are all up in the air, right?
Okay,
There's nothing touching the ground. So if we go frame by frame, this should be on twos,
Mhm.
twos, there. This frame this frame, just those two frames, this frame and this frame,
Mhm.
put them on once.
Put them on ones? Okay,
Put for both the left and the right side.
sounds good.
So do it right now, and so everybody can
Okay.
see the difference, and then call it CK Run V2, and put it in
V2,
the
okay.
same folder, and tell me when you're ready.
All right, give me just a second.
It's the ones where they're up in the air. And what this is gonna do, everyone, it's gonna take her total duration that was, she said she had 12 drawings on two, so it would be 24 frames. And it's gonna take it from 24 down to 20. So we're gonna lose 4 frames, which is a half of a beat. And a beat is 8 frames, so that is a half a beat. And it will make a big difference.
Sorry, give me a second, Billy. I put some stuff on different layers, so I
A
have
second,
to.
that's 24 frames.
Okay, a little more than a second. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, Billy, I'm about to submit it right now.
Okay. It's 16.79 days late. What's a teacher to do? Did you preview it?
I'm sorry.
Did you preview it for yourself?
No, I think it's just uploading. Did it just upload?
All right, let me know when it's
Did it
uploaded.
submit? I think it did.
All right, there we go.
Okay, cool.
All right, so this is version 2, everybody.
Yeah.
But that's how long it took. It took 4 minutes to redirect the timing on
I
it.
know, sorry, I have everything on, I had each body part on separate layers, so I had to make sure I got all
That's
the
okay,
ones
that's okay.
aligned.
So it already looks better. It already looks a lot better. So those are, I'm showing you the difference between seeing the run cycle that was 24 frames and now it's 20 frames. It already looks much better.
Yeah, it
And all we
does.
did was take the drawings where the character was up in the air and put those just on once. And take that to your whole life with you. You can always adjust your timing. And remember, one of the very first things we talked about in this class 18 weeks ago was that timing is the very easiest thing in animation to learn. How many frames does it take for an action to happen? That it takes 20 frames, but it's the hardest to master, right? So I would just recommend giving her some rounded shapes for her shoes and some real hands the next time you do this. And also deleting this line, the top of her shoulder line.
Oh, yeah.
Just
need to paint
deleting
the-
that line. All right, can I see some hands for Chloe, please? Yay!
Should I just paint the little arm shapes? Because I meant to close, I forgot to do that. I meant to just close them and paint them like a different color.
It depends. I am familiar with a couple of different options. One is that at Wild Brain, we would be in Flash and you can automate it this. You can make a script in Photoshop and say, take all your frames and do this to all those frames. Paint this arm and paint the shoulder and then delete the little line at the top. And then you hit an action, record and stop, and then it's all done. Or you could do it manually. Depends on how much time you have. All right, that was, and then you said you had a run as well? That was,
Yeah, I have an updated walk.
okay, an updated walk.
Yeah, I put it in walk
Was-
part
Oh, I'm in the
2.
wrong class, hold on. And that was in walk 2? Chloe, walk part
Sorry,
2?
yeah, I put in walk part 2. At least I think I did.
You did.
Great.
I look at one thing at a time. Yep, it looks great.
Okay.
Yep, looks great.
Is there anything I can
Um,
improve?
Yes. Follow the line that makes up this connection for her right quad.
Okay.
Because when you follow it, oops, sorry. When you follow it, it grows up and then goes
Oh, it
to your
does.
belly.
Okay.
And then when it comes back, it grows down
Okay.
and then goes forward. See that? It goes
Yeah, I see it.
midway through the cycle right now, and the line grows down,
Mhm.
and her hand covers it up, and then it grows down even further, and then goes back up
Okay.
for the cycle, and it's just, it looks like it needs just some fine tuning right there.
Sure.
What you can do is, instead of just settling on this, try something like this. Try something like this, where instead of trying to connect it, which would be weird, give her a zipper. Just give her like the fabric equivalent of a zipper.
Okay.
Something like that. And then this is always me being a maniac, but look at the distance that you've given the quad right here. So I don't know, on my screen, I will call that 3/8 of an inch. and then look at this distance that you've given the other quad. So her left leg
Mhm.
ends up becoming quite a bit thicker. So what you might want to do before you fix the zipper is to fix the volume on the quad first before you give her a zipper. And you're right, I just wanted to say zipper. All right, thank you, Chloe.
Thank you.
Okay. Put this away, refresh. All right, let's take 10. Take a 10-minute break. When we come back, we'll go over the run, catch, jump, anything that's new there, and then I'll have final thoughts. But take 8-minute break. Take an 8-minute break. Okay, everybody, come on back. We have. This is not behaving. I'm going to refresh my screen. There we go. All right. So, hey, oh, there we go. All right, so I just have a few of these run, catch, jumps. And I have an intuition that not all of them are new, but this one's new. This is from Yolanda. All right, everybody ready? Yolanda, run, catch, jump. Okay, good. So remember what we had talked about last week was that their camera was following the character and then the camera stopped and then the character proceeded. So what Yolanda has decided to do was just stop the camera altogether. And so the character just runs, or actually the camera is following a little bit and then stops. And you can see that by these flowers. So Yolanda, or what I would suggest, Yolanda.
Yeah, I'm here.
What I would suggest is to get these flowers out of the screen. Just take 2 or 3 frames right there at the end.
I think I'm missing the end of my frame actually, because I have a position where he's standing up. I think I accidentally missed a couple frames.
You didn't render the whole thing. Well, I would just get the flowers to go all the way off the screen.
Okay.
All right, so this brings to mind one of my notes was that after the character lands, so they're going through their arc, you could do a stretch right here to meet the ground. You could do a squash right here when the character's on the ground, impact. So you have that additional squash and stretch. But then this is the follow through. So when the character lands, what you did not put in there is the follow through. And that's one thing that the final would have allowed you to experiment with is follow through. But it's looking good. Do you have your project file open right now?
No, I do not.
Okay. Well, if you want, just go ahead and upload it to the same folder and I'll just get a different version, right? It'll be like this. It'll say 18th, 24, and it'll say another version right there, just so that I can see the whole thing. Okay?
Okay.
Hands for
Thank you.
Yolanda, please. Yay! All right, and oops, wrong. Carmen, this is new?
Yep, it's new.
Yep. Everybody? Okay, good. This is great. It's not quite done. Okay. Okay, good. Carmen, everybody, what fat flippers together for you, Carmen? Yay! Let's watch it one more time. I like the little overlapping action in her hair when she jumped up and landed. That was nice.
Thank you.
Little flying action is good. So when you did the flying action, did you do the reference, like the animated flying sequence, or did you just figure it out?
Like the first few flaps where he's getting into the air, I just tried to do that from like what I thought would happen, and then I like looked up videos of birds flying and
Yeah.
tried to use that for the
Yeah,
Like, the
absolutely. You
straight
totally
line.
did the right thing. So this is great. You've got a 25-second little film. So what I would recommend is you getting a YouTube channel if you don't already have one. Get it up on YouTube. You know, put the tags in there that it's from Kenyatta College, it's from your animation class, put your name, and people will notice it. You know, I think it's a good thing that you can then send it around to your family and friends. Because this is really good. This is exactly what you would be looking for at a final like this, except for I have one little hint for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this hint is more of an advanced animation suggestion. It was always pointed out to us animators, either when we were learning or when we were entering into a new shot, to remember that the believability of things when you're animating them helps to bring them from real life. And so what that means for this is that she's got a little dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And in your storytelling mind, she's trying to explain to the dragon how to fly. And so what we are to assume then as the audience is that the dragon has never flown before.
Mm-hmm.
So let her try it a couple of times. Let the dragon try to fly and not and be not successful at it right away.
Oh.
You know, flap, flap, flap. Oh, you know, if you had the money, you could drag this little section out right here, where she's trying to fly, and I'm giving the dragon a girl persona.
Mm-hmm.
20, 30 seconds. You know, she takes her wings up like this, and she does it really slow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you do a close-up on the girl, and she's like, no, you got to do it fast. And then so the dragon does it fast, and she doesn't move for some reason. And so she could have to do it wrong at least twice. It might be fun if she like does it really slow, and then the girl, no, you got to do it fast. And then so the dragon takes the arms up like this. You can see me in the video. And then the dragon flaps her arms really fast, and the dragon just explodes right off the screen, straight up off the screen like a rocket. And then the girl's watching her, and there's no animation really. And then all of a sudden, she has to catch the dragon, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dragon didn't know how to fly, she just knew how to take off.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah, that'd be really cute.
And then it would be a really sweet thing for your character to put the dragon back on the ground, and then the girl shows the dragon how to fly. And then it would be up to you as a storyteller to have the girl actually fly. It's a cartoon, it's animation. And then the dragon could go, oh, now I get it. And they could both fly.
Oh.
You know, something like that. So anyway, when you're watching Cinderella, and you've got the muses, the three muses, the fairies that follow her around, their wands don't always work. Go back and watch it. It's like the green fairy tries to get her wand to work, and she has to tap it in order to get it to work. That's like the most beautiful part of animation, is when stuff doesn't work correctly. So this is great. Can I see some hands, everybody, for Carmen? Yay!
Thank you.
All right, and then what causes her to fall out of the sky?
I ran out of time because this took me super long, but I was gonna have like a random pigeon run into the
Right,
dragon or something.
right.
But yeah, I ran out of time.
That's great. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you.
Your file name is a little suspect, though.
Oh,
Animation final.
it's because I re-uploaded it and then I don't think I changed the
So,
name the
That's
second
okay. I'm
time.
just going to get Chloe to bury things in your front yard.
Oh no.
Like old rusty shovels and stuff in your front yard.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Not too bad. Thank you, Carmen. All right. Reagan. This we saw last week, yes? RCRA.
Yeah, you already saw that one. That's not new.
Yeah, this is the one we saw, right?
Yeah.
All right, are you still planning on working on it, or are you done?
I'm still working on it.
It's okay. But I think it could use the handles, right? Not a lot of motion or time or anything happening at the beginning and at the end. Remember that once you do this, you're becoming a storyteller. You're becoming a filmmaker. All right, we've got Ryan. And we saw this one last week.
I did like just post a new one. It's very similar,
did?
but I tweaked it ever so slightly.
Oh, yes, you did. All right, everybody ready? So Brian. Okay, this is fun. It's 6 seconds. A run, I think it's great. What might work with this, I was just giving suggestions for Carmen. What might be nice here is if you have the character come up into a sitting position and then rub one of their knees. Because they fell and they hit their knee. Have little stars circling around the knee because
Right.
they hurt their knee. This is great. Or they could sit up and rub their side because they fell on their hip or something. Okay, but that looks good. Thank you, Ryan. Can I
Thank
see
you.
some wet fat flippers for Ryan? Yay! All right, and then I think there was one more in there. Delilah. So this was from 2 days ago. So this is new.
Yes.
All right, hold on 1 second. All right, everybody ready? Running, jumping. Okay, good. This is a very honest, great attempt. Background's panning. She runs up, catches the ball and lands. A little overshoot, a little land. This is great. I'm going to go backwards just a little bit. Again, I think that when you're doing this, you don't have the camera follow, but you did. That's fine. It reads really well. Just remember that when you've got a character that is in a stretch position like this, you can go ahead and add as much stretch as you want. Take it to a cartoony level if you want. And then when the character is stretching, they can stretch here as well. It's the squash and stretch. And then when they land in this position, you could add a whole bunch of squash. You could just squash the whole character. All right, and settle to end the little story. Okay, that's great. Could we see some hands for Delilah, please?
Thank you.
All right, let me put that here. All right, and hold on a second. All right, and I'm going to refresh. Did anyone just upload anything, or did I miss anything from anyone? Did anybody upload anything and walk 2, run while we were just in our last half hour?
I submitted my updated walk and run.
And who is that?
Tristan.
And where'd you put it?
I originally put it in walk part 2 by accident, but I also put it in part 1.
All right, walk 2 it is. This one?
Yep.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay, it looks better. I'm still seeing that the left foot is a lot smaller than the right foot. But it looks like you fixed the leg. just as we were talking. And remember that it's a process, you just keep going through it. If you were doing this for a game or a short film or something, you would have a model sheet. Just because right now the torso just looks a little long. In this kind of exercise, it's always better to have a character with longer legs so you can get the idea what that mechanics looks like. All right,
Right.
thank you, Tristan. I see some hands for Tristan. Yay! All right. I have this folder right here with all the runs, the walks, and the final, if you did it, in there. That was for extra credit. If I see anything that is differently named differently from walk 1, walk 2, run, or even this. So these 4 files right here, if I see anything new in there, like on Saturday at noon, I will pull those files and give you according points. And that goes for anybody who is late as well. So don't use the late folder if you haven't submitted anything yet. That goes for like, I see missing stuff for Deborah in walk scripts and gestures. So James and Chloe are missing some stuff. And those will show up as these little folders right here. You do not need to email me to say that to put anything in these 4 folders. I will make sure to cross-reference this big folder for our class with this. You don't have to email me. And the other ones you don't have to email me, I'll just check it. Anything, Chloe, if you upload it, the red will turn into a little folder like that. Okay, you got it? Got it. Good, good. All right, I have a couple of remarks that I would like to make. Let me come off of sharing the screen. All right, so my first note is that we didn't get a chance, even though we did a lot of projects. And I think that what we did was use the technical advantage of working digitally and remotely, really, to do a whole bunch of different bouncing balls, a whole bunch of different pendulums to really get the idea of how fast animation can be done, even in those simple little exercises. But we didn't get a chance to talk about, and we never do, secondary action. And if I am looking at the document that we started with right here, remember that secondary action is in the auspices of overlapping action, but it's very difficult. In The Illusion of Life, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson explained that secondary action is the act of a character walking very briskly across the screen and pointing at someone because they're mad at them. I told you I wanted you to bury stuff in the front yard. That action of the hand moving like this is timed completely different than the walk cycle itself. And so just remember, secondary action is hard to understand and it's hard to do. Timing is easy to understand, but it's very hard to master. Wait is something that we didn't get a real chance to talk about. It was not part of the original principles of animation, but animators are always concerned with weight. How much does something weigh? You've just got line drawings. You've just got a Maya file. And you've got a character that's just waltzing around on the stage. How do you make that dancer look like she's 100 pounds and not light like a feather? All right, and then I was looking at follow through and hoping to get a sense of follow through for the run, catch, and jump, but we technically didn't go through any examples for follow through. So in the category of overlapping actions, we didn't get a chance to really look at follow through or secondary action. All right, and then on counter action, that's when 2 things are moving at the same time, but in different directions. So you could say that the arms moving in different directions is counter action. in a walk cycle or a run cycle, or that the feet, one foot moving one way and the other one moving the other is counteraction. So we did cover that a little bit. Maybe not as completely as we would have if we had animation 1 and then animation 2, for instance. Okay. So those are the things from this list that we really didn't get a chance to go over. All right, and then I just have a couple of extra points here. And that is that I want you all to remember that animation shares the same principles from 2D, whether you're drawing on paper or you're animating in Toon Boom or any Procreate or any of the 2D drawing applications. It's all the same principles. If you're animating in Maya, it's the same principles. Maya, you can work a little faster because you don't have to draw every frame. Maya, you can work a little faster because you don't have to do all the in-betweens. You can just say in your graph editor, I want one frame to be on frame 1 and the next key on frame 17, and it will do all the in-betweens for you. And then when you're working in Maya, remember that the notion is to take back keys. You can go on frame 9 and hit K and isolate that as a key and then do something different on frame 9. Go back and make sure your graph editor is nice and smooth. You don't want anything moving in jerky motions, but that's why all the animators were really jazzed in 1995 when 3D animation was really starting to hit the streets. It really does speed things up. All right, stop motion is the hardest form of animation. You can't fix anything. You know, we just did a little demonstration here where Chloe did a 4-frame adjustment to her run cycle. Great. You know, that only took a couple minutes. You couldn't do that in stop motion. So remember, when you're watching a stop motion film, Aardman, their most recent film with the little felt birds, I forget what it's called. What's it called? Robin Robin. It's a 30-minute short film, stop motion from Aardman Studios. Aardman did Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, all that stuff. Stop motion, you can't fix it. You have to shoot the whole shot again. Very rarely an animator will go, oh, you know, I screwed up something, and digitally they can erase a couple frames, but they have to put the character in the exact same position that it was 4 frames ago. It's tricky if you wanted to try to fix it. You have to fix it on the spot. You can't edit it. You know, it's like a strange thing, but you can't edit it. All right, so remember, when you see Pinocchio coming out this autumn, Guillermo del Toro is a fantastic storyteller, and it's stop motion. And that Wes Anderson is never going to stop doing stop motion. He just loves it. So when you see stop motion animators are the best because they can't fix it. They have to do it right the first time. This is the international nonverbal gesture for, you got to do it right the first time. All right, I'm looking at my notes. Story. I have a huge, warm, fuzzy place in my heart for animators when they're telling stories, because we can do magic. We can make tons of stuff happen in magic. When we know our stories, we study the Campbellian mythology. We understand how to tell a very short stories like a joke, or a very short story is going to have a beginning, middle, and an end. You're going to get the Campbellian mythology if you're dragging things out to a feature length. If it's 60, 90 minutes, then you're definitely talking the characters going on a hero's journey, for sure. But for me, it's always about the ending. You can have as much character development as you want, have much exposition as you want, but for me, the story is always about the ending. And so don't forget that as an animator. We love the idea of telling a story, but in order to finish the film, you really have to have something change, the character has to grow, and you have to have a good ending. If you don't have a good ending, I will bury things in your front yard. I will. All right. So having said that, it's a very rare chance that games end. Now, I was just reading the other day that Candy Crush has 20,000 levels. And that some woman in the Midwest or something was really mad because she finished all 20,000 levels of Candy Crush. And the game is over for her. And so she wrote the people who were the developers and said, what am I supposed to do now? And they were like, well, we don't know, play a different game. Or, delete it and start over again. She's like, I don't want to do that. More often than not, games do not have endings. So how could a game have story? I'm being the devil's advocate right now. And I've only got Carmen and Chloe looking at me. So how could a game have a story if there's no ending? So I want you to take this with you. I'm always leery of those game people. Oh, there's a great story. No, it's not story. It's character for sure, or it's narrative for sure. But I'm very, very leery of saying that games have story. So keep that in mind. As animators, we hold on to the notion of story, and we hold on to it with our dear lives. And it's always about the ending. The Batman song. I hated the ending. I'm not going to tell you the ending, but if you end up watching it, it's like, wait, what? And that's always in my playbook. If I'm watching anything, a 5-minute film, a 20-minute film, a 3-hour film, oh my God, what was he thinking? If anytime during that film, if I'm watching it and I say, wait, what? And that could go for anything. That could be a editing error or a directorial error or a character acting out of character. If I do it 1 or 2 times during a film, it could still be okay. Because making a film is a craft and it's an art, and it's hard to get everything perfect if you don't have $1 trillion to make a feature film. But if I'm saying, wait, what? 5, 6, 8 times during a feature film, there's something wrong with it. And during the Batman, I must have said, wait, what, like 13 times. At least 13 times. So I'm not a big fan of that movie. I like Batman. He's probably my favorite superhero character because he's just so conflicted and he's got so many problems. But I wasn't sold on this most recent Batman. All right, a couple other points here. I wrote them small, so let me read them quickly. Okay, so the next point, I think this is really important for you all. You should be looking at 3 different places. 3 different places. And the first is looking for animation in festivals that are online. And a lot of times, especially over the last 2 years, festivals have been online just because everyone's working from home. Or just go to City College, go to San Jose State University when they have their animation festival, because they may not be online. And it might be the only chance you get a chance to see some student, some colleague of yours that has made something and they're not going to put it on YouTube or Vimeo or whatever. It might be your only chance to see it. So keep your antenna up for festivals, both online and on campus. Then the other thing is, if you are thinking of taking the route in animation as a career choice, and I've said this already, I'm just going to repeat it, you may end up having to work in games. And it just so happens that San Francisco Bay Area has the hottest concentration of game companies in the world. They just all landed right here. You got a couple of really big ones here, a whole bunch of medium-sized studios, and then 100 small game studios. And the blame for that are places like the Academy, where students come out and they're of their collaboration classes, and they work really well together. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we should make a game. And they do everything. They do the characters, the designs, the levels, the animation, the modeling, the texturing, the lighting, the rigging, the rendering. They put it into Unity, they make a game. And they sell it, or they get together and they make a company. And so if you really want to explore animation, that's a route. to look and see if these small game companies could use either independent animation, free, like you're volunteering just to do some cycling or idles or, whatever it is, a somersault or a jump or a run. It might be a really good chance for you to get exposure. The next thing is that happens in films too. A lot of these collabs in places like even from San Francisco State, the Academy, they'll put feelers out there for their entire animation department because they need animators. And you're not going to be paid. It's just a pro bono bragging rights that you worked on something. It might have to be internal, but you might find a place to get experience by working on these collaborative independent projects. Then, and let me see if there's a note here, do your own. If you're really thinking about this, the process is come up with an idea, write out your short script, concentrate on the verbs. Animators always animate the verbs, and then do your thumbnails. Remember, we tried to do this a little bit here. In the story class, we developed this a lot more where we're just talking about how to bring things to the visual stage. And that's an important step in the process, because if you can get your ideas and your characters into motion, into that story arc, and then start animating it, you can do anything you want. You can animate a 30-second film, a 40-second film, 5 minutes. And the 5 minutes is a big asterisk, because if you can animate a 5-minute film, that's the minimum that festivals like to have. And the reason for that is because a lot of animation schools across the world have beginning, intermediate, or advanced animation. In the advanced animation class, they may run a requirement that you have to do a 1-minute film by yourself. Or if you've got 3 people, you could do a 3-minute film. And the trick is that the festivals like to stay away from just student projects, student assignments. So if you're doing something independent and you've got a 4 or a 5-minute film, think about putting it into festivals. Festivals can be free. The entry fees can be as little as $20. When I was doing my film, a couple of the entry fees were like $75. But if you get into the festival, you have automatic Internet Movie Database. You could automatically, you're the director, you're the animator, and all of a sudden you can start your career with your Internet Movie Database. Every one of my students who worked on Bob has an Internet Movie Database tag. And I think that's a really great place for you to just say, you know what? I don't want to work at Disney right away. Well, that would be great. I don't want to work at Pixar right away. Cut your teeth. Think about a 4-minute film that just is really close to your heart, and storyboard it and get your characters and draw it or do it in Maya or whatever. But shoot for that 4.5, 5-minute bar, because then it can go into festivals. And that's your ticket to that road as an animator, right? All right, and then the last thing that I wanted to just mention here was that really, no matter what you're doing, whether my conversation started with 2D animation or Maya or stop motion, it's all about aesthetics. It's all about just the idea of what makes things good. And I think that you go back to all the things that you learn about art. And I think I might have shown this to you, where I have the document that I said that I was showing you about. I think this one's it. What is an aesthetic? What do your points, your lines, your planes look like? What color have you picked? When you're drawing your storyboards, do you have a focal point? Do you have an emphasis? Are you using value correctly? All of these things right here that just define art as an aesthetic, the principles of design, can help you boil everything down to just a great story, great characters, great narrative, and you become a filmmaker. Otherwise, this is supposed to be animation principles class, and I pushed you all. Yeah, like I said, we did 3 times more many projects than we would if we were just on paper. But paper's good. I like drawing on paper. I'll always start with paper. I'll always start with paper. And lately I've been doing pop-up books. So I can't stay away from the paper and the cards. So that's my rant. That's my close right now. Does anyone have any questions, comments, complaints, conundrums, criticisms? Again, you don't have to email me if you're gonna upload anything. I won't look at those folders until probably, I might look at them on Friday afternoon just to see if anything's happening. But I won't pull any files until Saturday, like at noon. And everyone's doing really well. So there's only a few of you who might have catch up to do, Chloe. James, it looked like you were talking.
Oh, yeah, I just have like some general animation questions.
Sure.
So outside this class, I've been using Toon Boom a little bit. Toon Boom. And like I really love like the organizational like things about it, like being able to put together longer videos. It's super useful, but like the drawing tools in it are like ugly, they're like super ugly compared to other programs. So
that is true. And I think that the reason for that is because they are stock tools.
Okay.
So you either have to customize them with your sliders. I know for a fact that straight out of the box, the pencil tool, even with the preferred settings, doesn't even come close to this rough animator pencil, because the pressure sensitivity is just really hot. But in Toon Boom, it's like you really have to struggle with it. My experience is that Toon Boom, they want you to work at it like it was Maya. So it's almost like you would imagine Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, being able to animate inside of Illustrator, if you have experience with Illustrator, because then you can set one key and then go out a whole bunch of frames, 38 frames, and have another, and Toon Boom will interpret it just like Maya will. And so they're using Toon Boom just for the expediency of getting animation done really quickly. So that's the trick. And you can't do that in a lot of applications. You can't do that in Photoshop because Photoshop is vector-based, pixel-based. So just and on top of that, Toon Boom is probably one of the more complicated applications that you ever try to learn. If you don't know it, you can put Flash files inside of Toon Boom. Did you know this?
I didn't know that.
You can build out a whole background in 3D and put it in a Toon Boom.
So
and you can animate characters walking around in a 3D environment.
That's kind of what I wanted to ask, is just, so like, is the way to, for making animated movies, a lot of people are combining stuff. Like you're using Toon Boom and you're using something else, or
sure.
You're kind of like, not necessarily, or
no? They are.
They are.
They're using rotoscope. In Lord of the Rings, that Andy Serkis jerk, he did all the motion capture for Gollum, and he went on record saying that the animators didn't do anything to animate Gollum, but he did everything, that they didn't even need the animators, that the animators were losers. and the whole animation world was like, fuck Andy Serkis. And by the way, he plays Alfred in the new Batman, and I had to like bite my tongue the whole time.
Interesting. Well, so rotoscope is, I saw like this little YouTube documentary about this guy who made the original Prince of Persia video game.
Yeah.
Which is like, it was really, really awesome little short documentary. And it was funny, like, yeah, he made the original like sword fight duels that would happen in the video game with him and his brother basically fencing. They filmed it, and then he like painted over the slides of film with the Sharpie. It's super old.
Yes.
So rotoscoping, are there tools built into these applications that just like automatically do it for you? So if you put film in, it'll just frame it out and take pictures of it and kind of trace it, or?
No, not really. If you study rotoscoping, motion capture, there was a whole bunch of really strange technology. Probably the strangest one was that the character would get into a suit, and each one of the points that was moving, shoulder, elbow, wrist, each one of the fingers had a gyroscope on it. And each one of the gyroscopes had its own special radio frequency that was sent to a pickup device, and that you could do whatever you want on the stage. And you could just bounce around. And these suits cost like $1 million. And this was back in like 1998, 1991, 1998, 2001. But the problem was that because they were RF, that any kind of radio frequency was interfering with it. So the data pickup was strange. They weren't getting a clean read. So they had to build these rooms that were lead to block out all other radio frequencies. And then it worked okay. And then they realized that they had invested huge amounts of time and dollars into something that could have just been the typical black suit with the ping pong balls. And it's a visual thing. So a lot of times in movies, if something is motion capture, it's just done with cameras. But then they develop software within Maya, a couple other programs too, that just follow the points, and then they clean up that data and put it on top of a 3D character. Probably the best example of this is the movie called Monster House that came out when you all were really little. And the whole world was like, oh my God, Monster House. The studio that did it was Fox Animation Studios, I forget, Universal Pictures. And it was done very quickly. The thing about Monster House is that they developed a room full of cameras that had hundreds of cameras in it, and the director could pick whatever camera they wanted and then say, okay, action. And the kids would just do their thing. And then by Monday morning, the whole shot was animated. Because not only did they pick the right kind of cameras and the right software, but then they developed a really great way to clean everything up. So, and motion capture is not animation. Rotoscope is not animation, it's cheating. You're not talking about anything cartoony. You're not talking, it's only live action. You're not talking about any overshoots or settles or no squash, no stretch, no blur frames. You're just getting out of the camera what the camera sees. Probably your best example are Don Bluth was like the best animator, top 10 animators in the world. And when he left Disney, he wanted to start his own company. So he went and did Dragon Slayer game. You might have played that. But then he did Thumbelina, and almost all of Thumbelina and the prince's actions are all rotoscoped. The frog and Gilbert Gottfried's character is cartoony, so they were animated, and the comparison is very strange. That was heavily rotoscoped in Anastasia. Have you ever seen Anastasia? Heavily rotoscoped. And you can tell there's like that little weird shimmer when the animation starts to look like it's approaching the uncanny valley, where it's like it makes you feel weird because it's real, but it's not. And then he also heavily rotoscoped from the Blue Studios was Titan AE, Titan After Earth, heavily rotoscoped. All the human characters were heavily rotoscoped. And then Janine Garofalo's character was that multi-legged monster that was animated. And again, the juxtaposition was weird. So everyone has always tried to figure out, yeah, Marge needs moms. Tons of rotoscoping, and they use tons of rotoscoping in games. Just remember, rotoscoping can be its own thing. If you're interested, you can go down the rotoscoping path. And you don't need to be an animator to know how to rotoscope. You're just cleaning up data. And I think that I was thinking about this afternoon, that there are animators at Pixar who are not really great drawers. You don't have to have this huge breadth of 2D and drawing and fine art behind you to be a good animator. 3D animators can be really, really good without having to know how to draw characters or boards or do what we've been doing here in this class. It used to be this like idealistic view that all animators had to know how to draw. And it's like, no, you can be a really good 3D animator and not know how to draw at all. It helps. It helps communicate. It helps the whole process, but it's just a real thing. Rotoscope is cheating. Rotoscope is not animation. And the animators who did work on Gollum's motion spent hundreds of hours on every shot. And Andy Serkis was wrong. So he could just stuff it. Yeah. Alfred. Chloe, did you like his performance? It's like, when I saw him as Alfred, I'm like, no, get him off the screen. What happened to Michael Caine? I think he retired. No one wants to see the same Alfred over and over again. So there you go. I one question and it took me 10 minutes to answer it.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
I guess the other thing would just be like, I really want to be able to add effects from like Procreate into animations that I make in Toon Boom. Is that something that's really challenging? Do I have to go back and just like trace and redraw everything in Procreate to get?
Oh, no. You might find that if you do your animation and render it as a QuickTime movie, that you can do just like I did, just like we did tonight. Just import the video and it comes right in as a frames. And then open a new layer and do your effects on top of it.
No way, it'll just go into Procreate like that?
Just import video and more than likely it comes in as frames. And if you can't do it in Procreate, I know you can do it in Toon Boom. It comes in as frames.
Okay, cool. Yeah, trying to get it in there. Thank
And
you.
then there's also another weird technical thing that I've seen this happen where animators have made animation at 30 FPS, but the project file in Toon Boom is 24. But Toon Boom is like, well, I don't care. I'm just going to bring it in on beats. And the 60 FPS gets down framed to 24. Actually, the 30 FPS gets down framed to 34, down converted.
Yeah, I just had that problem happen going from Toon Boom into, what is it? It's like the sound one, Adobe Premiere.
Yep, you could do that too.
Yeah, it squashed it.
And then you can do layers and all kinds of different applications, and then you can composite them in After Effects.
Okay.
And that's just like an animator's tool, where if you're doing a game, you would be the compositing in Unity.
Okay.
And you would be doing the walks and the runs and the idles and the somersaults as sprite sheets so that the users can just push their button and the character runs off the screen. Because it's just the same frames over and over again.
Okay, very cool.
All right, there you go. James, did you get everything uploaded to the class that you emailed me about?
Oh, that video I made, I put it in the discussion.
Oh, so that was different than the class assignments?
No, yeah, it was actually something that I made for David's class, but it just like used a ton of stuff.
Do you mind if I show it to everybody?
That'd be cool. It'd be great to get some feedback. I made it for David's class, but it kind of was a combination of everything that both you and David had showed I had taken from the classes this semester.
You know that David was like a veteran of ILM, right?
Veteran of what?
ILM, Industrial Light and Magic.
Oh, that's pretty badass.
It's opening it in a new tab here as an MP4. Oh, and I'm sharing the screen, but I am still recording. It's asking me to sign in. Oh, here we go.
The sound is messed up. Yeah, Billy, I can't really hear it, but that's okay.
James, everybody put your wet fat flippers together for James. Yay!
So yeah, that was my side project, I guess.
Just by yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of thing is pretty festival worthy. It's a little short. 3 minutes is a little short, but my comment would be is that you started out with smoke, and that you had a butterfly with the seed, and that was the antagonist versus protagonist. And I think that when you did all the animation for the plant growing, it might have been fun to have the plant scrub the soot out of the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was trying to express like ideas kind of like that, like the idea of that this seed being planted to kind of clean the nastiness.
Right. But then in order to be political, it might have been fun if your character had gone to the factory and got the fat oil baron and grabbed him and pulled him out and made him eat the soot that the plant cleaned out of the air.
Sure.
Now remember, in animation, you can do anything you want, right?
Totally. Yeah, that's kind of what made it so fun. Is
if you're not going to clean up the air, you're going to clean the air. We're going to make you clean the air with your teeth. All right. Thank you for sharing, James. That was awesome.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thanks for the feedback.
All right. Anything else? Anybody?
I have a question.
Carmen?
I'm going to be doing a bit of animation in college, I think, and I was just wondering if you had any advice while I'm there.
Which college?
I'm doing like a dual degree thing, so I'm doing art at the School of the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I am not exactly sure what kind of advice you're looking for, but let me do this. Animators are the most generous people across the world, across the board, across time. And the reason for that is because they realize that even though they might be a really good animator for whatever they're doing or that have done, that they still haven't animated everything. Maybe they've never animated a dog. And so they're always just really approachable, fun, honest people because there's no faking it. If you've animated everything and you're the god of animation and you can do animation on pencil, paper, and Toon Boom and in Maya and in stop motion and you're unstoppable, there are very few animators like that. Most of animators that I've ever worked with have just been really approachable, kind, heady, smart people that are funny and wonderful to be around. So just take that nugget, and that's the first nugget. You're a storyteller. You're an artist, you're a storyteller, you're a character designer. Animation is always about research. If you have to animate a raccoon, that's great. Animate the raccoon, and then your director is going to go, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was supposed to be a cartoon raccoon." Remember we talked about this? And then you animate a cartoon raccoon, and it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Carmen, it's supposed to be bipedal." And so you end up animating the raccoon like 40 times. And you're like, "Oh, I'm really good at animating this raccoon." And then you realize that you have never animated a giraffe, or you've never animated a rhinoceros or a hummingbird. And then because of that, animators just tend to be really down to earth, approachable, honest people across the board, across the world, across time. Always really cool people. Do some research on a woman animator. Her name is Lotte Reiniger. Do you know her work?
No. How do you spell her name?
Lotterein. It'll come right up.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And she and her husband did the Prince of Ahmed,
Mhm.
Tales of Prince Ahmed, by themselves. They did a feature film by themselves.
Dang.
And it's wonderful film. And it's all done with multiplane and paper and backlight. Absolutely astonishing. She was just the coolest woman. The other group of people were puppeteers. There was a whole bunch of people during World War II that they wanted to express their stories and make fun of the Third Reich and Hitler and all the things that the Nazis were just doing to the world. And so they were making fun of them with their puppets in Prague, which was then Czechoslovakia. And when the Germans came in, they would just see these puppets. And they had no idea why they were so popular, but they didn't realize that the puppeteers were making fun of the Third Reich and Germany and Nazi every night. But there were no storyboards, there were no films, it was just all live action. And so Prague ends up becoming the puppet capital of the world, and it still is. Those people are really cool. That's the other cool thing, is that animators are really cool. They're not like these stuffy, stuck-up New York artists. They're not like that. They're just like, they know that they have the whole life ahead of them, and they have a whole bunch of research to do on any project they're working on. That's my
Good to
story.
know.
I'm sticking to it.
Thank you. That's good
You're
to know.
welcome. All right, again, I will look at the class again on Friday afternoon, and then I'll start to pull files about Saturday at noon. And if you panic and you have anything after that, just email me at my Yahoo address. I can see that on my phone, and I'll wait. Right? I will wait. I will wait. All right, that's it. Animation is a wonderful sport. I promise never to bury things in your front yard, even though I suggest that all the time. I threaten you all the time. And have a good night.
What were your classes that you teach again? Like,
Here at Kenyatta College, I teach this animation class. I teach storyboard and I teach drawing. So there's 3 main classes. And then I also teach the history of games class, which I helped write for the Academy and I interpreted it. However, they just hired a full-time person to be in the animation department. So I may only get 1 class a semester instead of 2.
is it drawing for animation specifically?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Okay, cool.
And right now I have storyboard for autumn semester,
Okay,
starting in August or whatever that date is.
cool.
I have 2 classes in August. And then we get to meet the new full-time faculty person. I applied for it, but I didn't get it. But it's okay. You know, karma, things are meant to be, some things are meant not to be.
Wait, Billy, one more thing.
Yeah, sure.
I keep doing this. Okay, so I found this animator on YouTube that's really great, like really like kind of bizarre, a lot of really weird animations, like called Umami. Can I post one of the videos in the chat and you can tell me how they made it? Maybe potentially, I don't know. I mean, it's just a YouTube link, but I'm really curious as to like the tools this person's using to make this stuff.
Well, why don't we do this? Go ahead and put them in the chat. I see it right there.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are done, it's 8:30. Thanks for a great animation class. And you can take off for the night. Other than that, I will look at this and you can look at this with me. I'll share my screen with you.
Thank you, Billy. Have a good night.
Hey, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Billy.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Okay,
everyone.
bye.
Thank you, Billy.
All right,
Wait, James.
Click on it before.
What's going on?
Saying, oh, wait, did you hear me, James?
Yes, I did.
When you were saying that the YouTuber was making like weird animations, I thought you were gonna mention the other dude. His channel's called Meat Canyon. Have you heard of him?
No, hold on. Let me write this down. It's Meat.
Meat Canyon. Yeah, he makes pretty weird animations too. But like, I was kind of a little creeped out about it. But then like seeing some more, I was like, okay, you know, I kind of like this.
Yeah, same with this Umami person. They make like really bizarre animations, but sometimes they're just really odd. But I kind of think of it like Tim Burton. Like there's like some really strange people out there that made like some of my favorite stuff ever. So
I
it's
know,
like,
right?
yeah, it's just, but yeah, I love finding